Alright, now we take up questions from exercise M09, which is an exercise based on simple interest and compound interest. Now the first question, it says, out of a sum of rupees 7,200, I invest a part in fixed deposit at 4% per annum for 2 years and the remaining at 6% for 4 years on simple interest. Alright, if the interest on the first part for 2 years is equal to the interest on the second part after 4 years, we know that the simple interest is equal to principal amount into the rate of interest into the time divided by 100. Now in this question, there are two parts of the investment. So let's say the first part is X and the second part is Y. So we know that X plus Y has to be equal to 7,200. So this is our one equation that we will need to solve later on. Now it says the interest on the first part is 4% per annum for 2 years. So the interest on the first part will be the principal amount is X into the rate. We are following this formula. So principal amount is X into the rate is 4 into 2 years. So time is 2 divided by 100. This is the total interest on the first one. And the remaining at 6%. The second amount is Y. And on that we have 6% for 4 years. So that interest will be principal amount Y into 6 is the rate into time is 4 years divided by 100. The question is saying that the interest on the first part for 2 years is equal to the interest on the second part for 4 years. So these two are equal. So from here we can see that 100 and 100 are cancelled. 4 and 4 are cancelled. 2 cancelled 6 3 times. So we have X is equal to 3Y. Alright. So if I simply put X equal to 3Y in this first equation, we'll get 3Y plus Y is equal to 7,200. And that leads us to 4Y equal to 7,200. That means a Y is equal to 7,200 divided by 4, which is 1,800, right? That means X is equal to 3Y, which is equal to 3 into 1,800, that is 5,400. So the amounts are 5,400 on the first one and 1,800 on the second one. Now what is the question asking? The question asking the second sum, that means the value of Y, which is 1,800 rupees. That means the correct answer is C option. Alright, so let's go to the next question now. Now this question says the difference between compound interest and simple interest for 2 years at the rate 5% and it is 60 rupees, find the sum. We have done a formula wherein we say that the difference between compound interest and simple interest on the same amount at the same rate for 2 years. Be very careful, only for 2 years, right? Only for 2 years is equal to PR square upon 100 square. So this is a very beautiful formula which we can directly memorize. We have done it in theory lectures also, right? So we can simply use it here. Difference between compound interest and simple interest for 2 years is straight away PR square upon 100 square. So here P we have to calculate, right? R is given as 5%. So and the difference is already given as 60 rupees. Alright, so we can directly apply this formula. We say that 60 is equal to P into, in place of R we can put 5, so 5 square upon 100 square. Alright, so which is equal to P into 5 square is 25, 100 square we can write as 100 into 100. So 25 cancels 100 4 times. So we have 60 is equal to P divided by 400. So from here we get P is equal to 60 into 400 is 24,000. That means the principal amount is equal to 24,000 rupees, which is the A option. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, a money lender borrowed a sum of money at 4% simple interest and lent the same at 6% compounded half yearly. Alright, if he made a profit of rupees 1045 at the end of 1 year, how much did he borrow? Right, so suppose the principal amount that he borrowed was P. Right now, so he has to pay, because he has borrowed, he has to pay certain interest, right? So interest paid is calculated as, is given that interest paid is on simple interest. So interest paid will be equal to PRT upon 100. And for that P is given P, R we have to take as 4 and T at the end of 1 year. So T has to be 1 divided by 100. So 4 cancels 100 25 times. So we have simply P upon 25. This is the interest paid. Alright. Now, how much interest will he receive? Here his question says 6% compounded half yearly. So we can directly calculate interest received. Interest received is equal to compound interest. So I'm just writing it here. It will be equal to amount minus the principal. Amount can be calculated as P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus P. Here the rate is given 6. So in this case the R will be 3. Reason? Because we have 6% compounded half yearly. So in place of R we'll take 3. So it is 3 divided by 100 to the power N. In 1 year time period there will be 2 half years. So N is equal to 2. So we'll put N equal to 2 here minus P. So this becomes P into 1 plus 3 by 100 is 1.03 whole square minus P. Now it is P common 1.03 square minus 1. Now we know that 1.03 square is 1.0609. So we can take it as equal to P into 1.0609 minus 1. So this gives us P into 0.0609. Alright. So this is our interest received. This is received interest. Alright. Now, so we have already calculated the received interest and the paid interest. Now, whatever is the difference will be his either earning or the loss. In this case, it says there is a profit of 1045. That means the interest received has to be more than the interest paid. I'll write it here. Received interest has to be more than paid interest. Then only there is going to be a profit. You can think yourself, right? Now, received interest is P into 0.0609 minus paid interest. Now, P by 25, 1 by 25 is 0.04. So, it is P into 0.04. Alright. So, this is P into 0.04. This difference value is given as 1045. This will be his total earning and this is given as 1045. Alright, so in this case, we can simply take P common and it will be 0.0609 minus 0.04. It is equal to 1045. If you simply subtract, you get P into 0.0209 equal to 1045. If you remove decimal, you will get 1 and 4 zeros in the denominator and then 209. So it is P equal to 1045 into 10,000 divided by 209, sorry. Divide by 209. Now 209 is exactly 5 times 1045. Right? So P is equal to 5 into 10,000, which is equal to 50,000 rupees. Right? So in this case, the principal amount is 50,000 rupees. The question is asking how much did he borrow? That means he borrowed P. That is 50,000 rupees, which is option D. That is the correct answer. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, a person lent rupees 4,900 at a certain rate of simple interest. He realized an amount of rupees 6,370 after 3 years. That means his total amount that he received is 6,370. That means the 6,370 is the final amount. That is principal plus interest. He lent another sum at the same rate of interest, which amounted to rupees 6,480 after 2 years. Alright. How much was lent on the second time? Right. So from the first one, the principal amount in the first case is equal to 4,900 rupees. Right, and the final amount is equal to 6,370. That means the interest value in the first case will be equal to 6,370 minus 4,900. Now 6,370 minus 4,900 will be equal to 1,470. So interest in the first case is 1,470 rupees, and this is simple interest. So we can directly apply the formula of simple interest, that 1,470 is equal to P into R into T, and T is 3 years, so 3 divided by 100. From here we can calculate rate of interest. Let's see how. 0 and 0 are cancelled, 0 and 0. 49 cancels 147 3 times, so it is 30. And then 3 cancels 30 10 times. So from the first case, we get the rate equal to 10%. Right? And it is the same rate in the second case also. Now let's talk about the second case. In the second case, it says, some lent at a rate of same rate of interest. So R is equal to 10% as it was in the first case, and which amounted to 6,480 after 2 years. Alright, how much was lent the second time? Now let's see, let's do it in a different manner. Here the time is 2 years and we still have simple interest. So 2 years simple interest in this case will be, now we know that rate is 10%. Now rate is always for 1 year. So for 2 years, it will be 2 into 10%, that is 20% of principal amount. That means the second case principal, let's say it is P, plus 20% of P, that is equal to rupees 6480. This is the second case amount, right? So principal amount plus 20% of the principal amount in the second case. All right. Now P plus 20% of P will be 1.2 P is equal to 6480. So directly we get P is equal to 6480 divided by 1.2. If you remove decimal, you will get 6480 and one more 0 divided by 12. Now 12 cancels 648. 54 times, so it is equal to 5400. That means the principal amount in the second case is rupees 5400, which is C option, that is the correct answer. All right, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says at what rate percent will a sum of money double itself in 10 years? Nothing is mentioned about the type of interest, so we'll assume by default simple interest, right? And for this we have done it in theory that for simple interest amount, the cases in which the amount doubles, we can directly apply R into T equal to 100. Here T is given as 10 years. So straight away, we can say that R into 10 is equal to 100. So basically R is equal to 10%. Right? So we can directly apply this rule for simple interest amount doubling. R into T is equal to 100. We don't have to think anything else. But in case if you don't remember this, then there is another way to look at it. Let's see. Suppose principal amount is 100. That means after 10 years, it will become, the final amount will become 200 because the amount has doubled. That means the simple interest value will be equal to the amount minus principal, which is 200 minus 100. That is equal to 100 rupees. So simple interest for 10 years is 100 rupees. This is for 10 years, right? That means simple interest for 1 year will be equal to 100 upon 10, because 10 years interest is 100. So for 1 year it will be 100 upon 10, that is 10 rupees, right? And the principal amount is 100. So the rate will be equal to interest for 1 year divided by the principal amount into 100. So this is the standard procedure. So 100 gets cancelled and we get 10% as the answer. So in any other case, if you don't remember the formula, you can directly apply this. Even if the amount was tripled or become 4 times, you could have applied the same process. Alright, so in any case, the answer in this case is A option, which is 10%. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says a sum amounts to rupees 21632 at compound interest at the end of second year and rupees 22497.28 at the end of third year. Now if you remember, in case of compound interest, the amounts also increase at the same rate or increase at the rate of R%. Whatever is R is the rate in that case, right? So all the amounts increase every year by R%, right? So I'm writing P as the principal amount, P1, P2, P3 are the amounts after 1 year, 2 year and 3 year. Here P2 is given as 21632 rupees and P3 is given 22497.28 rupees. Please try and understand whatever percentage increment would have happened here is R%, right? So first let's find what is the value increment, what is the difference. So the difference value is equal to 22497.28 minus 21632. That is the first thing. So if you subtract, you will get 865.28 rupees. So this is the interest of actually the third year. Right? Now this 865.28 as a percentage of 21632. Let's calculate. So that will be the value of rate. So rate is equal to 865.28 divided by 21632 into 100. So basically it becomes simply 86528 divided by 21632. Now look at this very closely. 2 4 is 8 and 21 4 is 84. So basically 21632 is straight away 4 times 86528. So answer is 4%. So rate has to be 4%. Now look at the options. The options here, there are 2 options which have 4% in them. That means the other 2 options are definitely wrong. Now we have to check which one is the correct principal amount. Now in the first option it is 15,000, in the second option it is 20,000. From here it is very clear that 15,000 cannot be the answer. Why? Let's see. We are saying that the rate is 4%. Rate is 4%. So that means for 2 years it will be at least 8%. The 2-year interest will be at least 8%. Now 8% on 15,000 will never add it to give 21,632. Please understand that this is the correct amount that is given, amount after 2 years. This should be principal amount plus 2-year interest, that is 21,000. Now on 15,000, even if you add 8% or 10%, it will not become 21,000. That means 15,000 is not the correct answer. Hence, the principal amount has to be 20,000. So you don't have to use any formula for that. You can use the options. I repeat, if the rate is 4%, then even if I take simple calculation for 2 years, it will be around 8%. If 1 year it is 4%, 2 years will be 8%. And if I take principal to be 15,000, and if I take 8% or even 10% interest, it is not going to reach up to 21,000 after 2 years. So 15,000 is wrong. Hence, the correct answer will be 4% rate and 20,000 principal amount. Alright, so this way you could have used the options also. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Now this question is a direct application of the formula that we have done. Find the difference between compound interest on 800 for 1 year at 20% PA when compounded half yearly and quarterly. Alright, so here what we need to do is we need to calculate the interests in each case. So for the first case, when it is half yearly, the compound interest will be equal to amount minus principal. Now amount is P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus P. In this case, P is 800 into 1 plus rate is 20% is for the year. So for half year it will be 10 upon 100 to the power 2. In 1 year there are 2 half years minus 800. So what we can do is we can take 800 common. 1 plus 1, 10 by 100 is 1.1. So it is 1.1 square minus 1. So it becomes 800 into 1.1 square is 1.21 minus 1. So it is 800 into 0.21, which is eventually equal to 168 rupees. Alright. Now here, because the options are so close, you cannot guess. Now in the second case, the compound interest will be equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus P, the same formula. P is still the same 800 into 1 plus. Now second case is quarterly. For a year, if the rate is 20%, that means for a quarter it will be 20 divided by 4 because there are 4 quarters in a year. So 5%. So for quarterly rate will be 5 divided by 100 to the power 4 minus 800. Now from here you can see that it is 800 common and inside we have 1.05 to the power 4 minus 1. Now look at this carefully. We know that 1.05 square, I'll do the calculation here. 1.05 square is equal to 1.1025. So 1.05 to the power 4 will be equal to 1.1025 whole square, and you will have to calculate the whole thing properly, and this will be equal to approximately 1.21550625. So I'm omitting 0.0625. We are taking only 4 digits. So approximately it is 1.2155. Alright. Now, so here we get 800 into 1.2155 minus 1, which is equal to 800 into 0.2155. So if you multiply, you will get 172.4 rupees. Now this is a very close situation, right? Now what is the question asking? The question asking find the difference between those two values. So one value is rupees 168, one value is rupees 172. So that means the required difference that we want to calculate here, so the required difference is equal to 172.4 minus 168, which is equal to 4.4 rupees. So this is the approximate answer, but this is fine because if you look at the options are very clear. It is 4.40, B option. That is the correct answer. So this question was given only to test your calculation abilities. Nothing to worry too much about it. It is given for a practice. Alright. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says the simple interest on a sum of money at 4% per annum for 2 years is 80 rupees. Find the compound interest on the same sum for the same period. Alright, now this is a very beautiful question. From here we can actually calculate principal amount and then we can calculate compound interest. But we don't need to do that. Alright, so what we will do, let me put it this way. First year, second year, we have done it in theory. I'll explain it again here. Simple interest is going to be the same every year. Right, so here it is 80 rupees simple interest for 2 years. So for 1 year it will be 80 by 2, that is 40 rupees and 40 rupees. Alright. Now we also know that the compound interest in the first year is same as simple interest in the first year. So first year simple interest is 40 rupees. So compound interest in the first year has to be 40 rupees. Alright. We also know that the compound interest every year increases at the same rate. Right. So if rate is R%, the compound interest of the first year is CI1. So the second year will be simply R% more than that. Or the third year will be simply R% more than CI2. And so on. Right, so this will continue. So even the compound interest increases at the same rate. Now here in this case, we already have the first year compound interest as 40 rupees. Rate is given as 4%. So second year compound interest will be just 4% above 40. Now, if you calculate 4% of 40, it will come out to be 1.6 rupees. Right, so just add it. So 40 plus 1.6 will be 41.6 rupees. So now we have the second year compound interest 41.6, first year compound interest 40. The question is asking CI on the same sum for the same period. So this required compound interest for 2 years in this case, because the period is 2 years, it is equal to 40 plus 41.6, which is 81.6 rupees. So this was a very beautiful question, right? That is answer is D option. The other method is you can calculate principal amount and then you can do the whole calculation. That will obviously be a little longer. So we don't need to do that. We can directly do it from here. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says the CI on 30,000 at 7% per annum for a certain period is 4347. Find the period. Now, again, we can do some direct calculation also. If I assume that it was a simple calculation of simple interest and the rate is 7%, alright, then the interest of 1 year, has to be 7% of 30,000, which will be equal to approximately 2100 rupees. Right, so this is interest for 1 year, right? That means interest for 2 years has to be double of 2100, that is close to 4200. I'm just assuming that if it was simple interest. Now, in case of compound interest, the 2 year interest will be a little more than 4200, right? That is very clear. Now in this case, the interest given is 4347 and the situation is of compound interest. So we can simply guess that the duration has to be 2 years. It cannot be more than that. I'll tell you how. If I take it for 3 years, then for 3 years it will be at least 3 into 2100. That is 6300. Whereas here the interest is 4347, so 3 years cannot be the answer. Hence, 4 years also cannot be the answer. What about 2.5 years? Now, for 1 year interest is 2100. So, for 2.5 year interest will be equal to, for 2 years it is 4200 and for 1 year it is 2100. For half year it will be around 1050. So, if you add, it will be minimum 5250. 5250. Here it is only 4347. So 2.5 years also cannot be the answer. Hence the answer of this question is 2 years. Alright, so this was one very good way to look at it. Or otherwise the method is always there. You can directly put the formula. Now the other method is obviously using the formula which we have, compound interest equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus P. So here we have to calculate N. So compound interest is given is 4347 is equal to, here we can take one more step and we can take P common and will be inside 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus 1. Alright, now 4347 is equal to, in place of P we can put 30,000 into 1 plus R is 7. So it is 7 by 100 to the power N minus 1. Now 30,000 will divide 434. In fact, both are divisible by 3. So 3 divides 30,000 10,000 times, and 3 divides 4347 1449 times, and now we get 1449 upon 10,000 equal to 1 plus 7 upon 100 becomes 1.07 to the power n minus 1. Now 1449 upon 10,000 is 0.1449. 1 comes to the left hand side, so plus 1 is equal to 1.07 to the power n. Right? Now this becomes 1.1449 equal to 1.07 to the power n. Now if you look at this closely, 1.1449 is actually 1.07 square, and this is where you will find it difficult. This is where you will find this method a little difficult, right? Because you might not remember the square, or it will be not very easy to factorize. Right? Otherwise, you could also see in that 7 square ends in 9. So you could have guessed that it is going to be it is going to be the square of that number. So from here it is very clearly seen that n is equal to 2. That means the period is of 2 years, which is A option. So obviously guessing or checking from the numbers would be always easier, or using the options is always easier in this question. Alright, now let's look at the next question. Now this question says, if the CI on a certain sum of money for 2 years at 12.5% per annum is 170, find the simple interest earned on the same sum for the same period at the same rate. Again, we can use the formula, but we can also use the methods that we have seen earlier. We have seen this method first year and then second year. We know that the simple interest for the first year is going to be the same as the second year simple interest. So let's say it is first year is X, second year is X. And the compound interest of first year is going to be same as simple interest of first year. So the first year compounded is also going to be X. And we also know that the compound interests also increase at the same rate. Now here the rate is given as 12.5%. Alright, now 12.5% as a fraction is 1 by 8. So if I have the first year compound interest as X, then second year compound interest has to be X plus R% of X. Now here R percent is 12.5%, which is 1 by 8x. So this becomes x plus 1 by 8x, which is 9 by 8x. So the second year compound interest is 9 by 8x. And the total compound interest for 2 years will be, from here it will be x plus 9 by 8x, and it is given equal to 170 rupees. So if you add, it will become denominator will become 8, numerator will become 8x plus 9x, that is 17x. So it is 17x by 8 equal to 170. Now 17 cancels 170 10 times. So x is equal to 8 into 10, that is 80 rupees. Now go back, x is the simple interest of first year. So it has to be the second year simple interest also. So simple interest earned on the same sum on the same period. So the total simple interest in this case will be equal to 2 into 80, which is rupees 160. So this was one very beautiful question. You know, I am sure that some of you can do this calculation mentally also. So in any case, the answer is C option, that is 160 rupees. Alright. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says the CI on a sum of money for 2 years at 10% per annum is 420. Right. Again, we can apply the same formula. Let's say first year and second year. Alright. Simple interest and compound interest. Let's assume the simple interest for each year is X. Then compound interest for the first year will be X. And for the second year, it will be just 10% more than the first year interest, because the rate is 10%. And we know that CI1, compound interest is also increase at the same rate. Also increases at the same rate. So rate is 10%. First year compound interest is X. So second year compound interest will be simply 1.1x. So the total compound interest for 2 years will be X plus 1.1x, which is given equal to 420 rupees. That means 2.1x is equal to 420. That means x is equal to 420 divided by 2.1. If you remove decimal, it will give you a 0. So 4200 upon 21. 21 double is 42. So it is 200 rupees. Right? So x value is 200. So the required simple interest for 2 years will be equal to 2 into 200, which is 400 rupees. So this also was a very simple question, and the answer would be C option, that is 400 rupees. Alright, so these are very easy questions. You can directly apply these shortcuts. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says the difference between simple interest and compound interest on 5,000 for 2 years at the same rate is 72 rupees, right? So find the rate of simple interest. So we know the difference for 2 years between compound interest and simple interest is straight away equal to P R square upon 100 square. Here the difference value is given 72. So put it here, 72 is equal to P is given 5,000. So put it here, 5,000. into r square. R we have to calculate. Divide by 100 square. So it is 100 into 100. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Two zeros are cancelled. 0 and 0, one more is cancelled. 5 cancels 10 two times. So 72 into 2 is equal to r square. So from here we can see 72 into 2 is 144. That is r square. And we know that 144 is 12 square. So that is r square. So from here we get r equal to 12%. So very simple question, a direct application of this formula PR square upon 100 square for difference between compound interest and simple interest for 2 years. Alright, so the answer is rate 12%, A option. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says a certain sum on simple interest becomes double in 20 years. So if I assume principal amount to be 100, then amount after 20 years, it must become 200. Alright, so amount after 20 years is 200. So what is the interest value for 20 years? I'll write it like this. Simple interest for 20 years is equal to amount minus principal, that is 200 minus 100, which is 100 rupees. Alright. Now we can look at it in this manner also. To get simple interest of rupees 100, it took 20 years. Right. So look at this statement very carefully. Now look at our question. Our question is saying in how many years will it become? 4 times. So now I want my principal 100 to become the amount 400. So what is the interest that we want? The simple interest that we want will be 400 minus 100. That is 300. Right? Now we have already said that to collect interest of 100 rupees, it takes 20 years. So for simple interest of rupees 300, the time taken will be equal to, for 100 it was 20 years, so for 300 it will be 3 into 20, which is 60 years. Alright, so this was a very beautiful question again. You had to look at it very carefully, right? So the answer is C option, that is 60 years. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, find the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Reckoned half yearly for rupees 600 for 1 year at 10% per annum, right? So let's do one thing. One is that we can apply the formula also, but that I'll do later. Here I'll use the normal theory. The simple interest will be equal to, it is about 1 year. So PRT upon 100, so 600 into rate is 10% into T is 1 year, divide by 100. So 0, 0, 0, 0 cancel. 6 into 10 is 60 rupees. So the required simple interest is 60 rupees. Now let's look at compound interest. Now compound interest will be equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus P. Alright. So let's take P common. It is 1 plus. Now rate for half yearly, it will be 5%. Yearly rate is 10%. So half yearly it will be 5%. 5 divided by 100. And in a year, in 1 year, there will be 2 half years. So N is 2 minus 1. We have taken P out. Right. So it is P is 600 into 1 plus 5 by 100 is 1.05. 1.05 square minus 1. Now 1.05 square is 1.1025 minus 1. So it becomes 600 into 0.1025, which is equal to 61.5 rupees. Alright. So the required difference will be equal to 61.5 minus 60, which is 1.5 rupees. Alright. So the answer of this question is 1.5 rupees. Right, which is D option. But there is another way, as I said earlier. Now, how do we apply that formula of PR square upon 100 square? Remember that this was the formula for 2 years. This can also be applied for 2 periods. Alright, just that R value will be the period rate. Now, here the period is half year. Right, the rate for the year is 10%. So, the period rate in this case will be 5%. And in 1 year, there are 2 half-year periods. So we can directly apply the same formula and the required difference will be equal to PR square upon 100 square. Alright. So let's calculate it. P is 600. R is 5. So 5 square divided by 100 square is 100 into 100. Alright. So 0, 0, 0, 0 is cancelled. 5 square is 25. So it is 6 into 25 by 100. Alright, 6 into 25 is 150 upon 100, that is 1.5 rupees. So this was another way of doing this question. Right, it's just that the formula is for 2 years. It can also be applied for 2 periods. And in 1 year, there are the number of periods of half year is 2. So here we could have applied the same formula. The only thing is we had to be careful about the value of R to be put in this formula. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. So answer of this question was D option 1.5. Now this question is a direct question. The difference between simple interest and compound interest on 2000 for 2 years. So P is 2000, time is 2 years, rate is 10%. We can directly apply the required difference formula, that is PR square upon 100 square. So it is equal to, P is equal to 2000, R is 10, so it is 10 square, upon 100 square is 100 into 100. Now 10 square is 100, so 100 will get cancelled by it, and 0 will cancel here, so it is straight away 20 rupees. So this is the value of that required difference, which is option C. Right, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, calculate the compound interest on rupees 420 for 2 years at the rate of interest being 4% for the first year and 5% for the second year. Now, here the rate is not constant, so you have to be a little careful. You have to calculate compound interest in this case like this. Principal amount into 1 plus the rate of first year upon 100, bracket close, and then the second bracket 1 plus the rate of second year upon 100. So you can go on doing. You just see that if R1 and R2 are same, this can be written as a power. Right, now this whole thing is the amount minus the principal amount P. Alright, so first let me put it this way. P is 420, 1 plus R1 is 4%, so it is 4 upon 100, into 1 plus R2 is 5%, so it is 5 upon 100, minus 420. So we can take it as 420 common, and inside we have 1 plus 4 by 100 is 1.04, into 1 plus 5 by 100 is 1.05, minus 1. So if you open it, if you multiply 1.04 and 1.05, you will get 1.0920 minus 1. So this gives us 420 into 0.0920. So multiply this to get, in fact, if one decimal will go away, so it is 42 into 0.92, which is equal to 38.64 rupees. So this was the answer of this question. You had to do it a little carefully. Alright. The option is B, that is the correct answer. Alright. There is another way of doing the same question. What you could have done is, we could have gone year wise. Instead of using the formula, we could have started with principal amount P, which is 420. In the first year, let's say the interest calculated is 4%. So calculate 4% of 420. 1% of 420 is 4.2. 4% will be 16.8. Add it. So it becomes 436.8 rupees. This is the amount after 1 year. Now from first year, 436, after 1 year it is 436.8. In the second year, it is increasing by 5%. Now 10% of 436.8 will be 43.68. 5% will be 21.84. So add that 21.84 to this value, you will get 458.64 rupees. Alright. So this is the amount after 2 years. Okay. And the initial amount was 420. So the required compound interest for 2 years will be 458.64 minus 420, which will also give us 38.64 rupees. So these are the two ways in which this question can be done. Now let's go to the next question. This is a direct question. A sum of money at SI doubles itself in 20 years. We have already said for simple interest, amount double, we can directly apply rate into time equal to 100. Here time is given 20 years. So R into 20 is equal to 100. So R is equal to 100 by 20, which is 5%. So the answer of this question is straight away 5%. That is C option. Right? Now let's go to the next one. Now this question says the difference between simple interest and compound interest on 400 at 5% for 2 years is direct application of the formula that we have learned. Difference for 2 years, compound interest and simple interest is equal to PR square upon 100 square. Right? Now here P is given 400, R is given 5, so 5 square upon 100 square. So it is 100 into 100. So 0, 0, 0, 0 and cancelled. 5 square is 25. So 25 into 4, it is 4 into 25 upon 100. Now 25 into 4 is 100 and 100. So again cancelled. So it is equal to 1 rupee. So the required difference value is 1 rupee, which is B option. Alright, so a simple question, direct question. Let's go to the next one. Now this question says a man's expenditure is 66 2 by 3%. So first of all, 66 2 by 3%, in terms of fraction it is 2 by 3, 2 by third fraction. Alright, so this question says a man's expenditure is 2/3 of his income. If his income increases by 800, his expenditure, which remains the same, becomes 50% of his income. Alright, so his original income is, let's assume that the original income is equal to X. So his original expenditure will be 2/3 of X, so 2 by 3X. Now, in the new case, what happens? Expenditure remains same. So in the new case, I'll write expenditure equal to the same as the original one, that is 2 by 3X. Alright. And it becomes 50% of the income. Right. Now 50% is equal to half fraction. Right. Now so that means here this 2 by 3X is half of the new income. So the new income will be equal to 2 by 3X into 2. Because the expenditure has to be half. So the income has to be double of expenditure. So this becomes 4 by 3X. So the original income is X, new income is 4 by 3X, and it is also given that the income has increased by 800. This means that X plus 800 is equal to 4 by 3X. So this tells us that 800 is equal to 4 by 3X minus X, which is equal to X by 3. Alright, 4 by 3 minus 1 is 1 by 3. So from here we get X equal to 800 into 3, because 800 is equal to X by 3. Right? So X is equal to 800 into 3, which is 2400 rupees. Right? So that means the original income of the person was 2400. So this was a very easy question. B option is the correct answer. Alright, now let's go to the next one. Now this question says a man kept rupees 100 in a bank. The bank gave him 10% compound interest every year. The amount is thus accumulated in this account for 5 complete years. At what rate of SI he can get the same amount during the same period? Alright, so first what you need to do is find the net interest after 5 years at the rate 10% compounded. Alright, so the required compound interest will be equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N minus P, which is equal to, P is common. We have 1 plus R is 10 upon 100 to the power 5 minus 1, and P value is 100. So it will be equal to 100 into, now 1 plus 10 by 100 is 1.1 to the power 5 minus 1. Now here there is a slight difficulty that you have to calculate 1.1 to the power 5, which is equal to 1.61051 minus 1. Now here, even if you calculate with slight approximation, it is fine, and this will come out to be 100 into 0.61051, which is equal to 61.051 rupees. Alright, so this is the total compound interest for 5 years. Okay. Now we have to solve the same question for simple interest, and we have to find the rate. Right? Now, let me put it the formula. Simple interest will be equal to PRT upon 100. Simple interest is 61.051. P is 100. R we have to calculate. Time is given 5. Divide by 100. So basically 100 and 100 get cancelled, and we could have straight away said R equal to 61.051 divided by 5. So if you divide, you will get 12.2102%. So the required rate is 12.2102 answer. Right? Now if you look at the options, here none of these is also there, but don't worry, because here we have taken the exact values. If we had done approximation, we could have got 12.21. So the answer has to be marked as C option. Alright? Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says a sum of money put at compound interest amounts to 210 in 3 years and 200 in 2 years. Find out the rate of compound interest per annum. Alright, it says the sum amounts to 210. So if you remember, if I say P is the principal amount, after 1 year it has to increase by R% and it must become P1. Then in the second year, let's say it is first year, then in the second year again the amount has to increase by R% only. Just that R% on this R% is on this, and it becomes P2. Then in the third year again we have to calculate R% on P2, and the amount must become P3. Here P2 is given 200 rupees, right? And P3 is given 210 rupees. So very clearly, whatever percentage increment happens from 200 to 210, that is R percent. So what is the net value increase? It is 210 minus 200, which is equal to 10 rupees. So 10 as a percentage of 200 will be equal to the rate. So the rate percentage is 10 divided by 200 into 100. This much percentage. So 0 and 0, 0 and 0 cancel. 2 divides 10 5 times. So the required rate is equal to 5%. You just need to remember this rule that the amounts increase by R percent every year. So amount after 2 years is 200, amount after 3 years is 210. So whatever percentage increment happens from 200 to 210 is the rate value in this case, right? So the answer is C option, 5%. Now let's go to the next question. This is a direct question. Simple interest on a certain sum for 3 years at 4% is 48. So let's say straight away simple interest is equal to PRT upon 100. Simple interest is given 48. We have to calculate P. R is given as 4, time is given as 3. Divide by 100. Right? So P is equal to 48 into 100 divided by 4 into 3. Now 4 cancels 48 12 times. 3 cancels 12 4 times. So 4 into 100, that is 400 rupees. So this was a very simple direct question. That is, answer is option A. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, if a sum of money at a certain rate of simple interest doubles in 5 years and a different rate of interest becomes 3 times in 12 years, find out the lesser rate of interest. Alright, so let's divide the whole question into 2 parts. Right? Now in the first case, it is simple interest case and amount doubles. Right? Amount doubles. So for this, we directly know that R into T is equal to 100. Right? Now here, T is given as 5 years. So R into 5 is equal to 100. So the required rate in the first case is 100 by 5, which is 20%. Right? So the rate in first case is 20%. We also know the general method. Let's apply the general method for second situation, where it says the amount becomes 3 times in 12 years. So let's say P is equal to 100. So the final amount after 12 years must become 300. That means simple interest for 12 years should be equal to 300 minus 100, which is equal to 200. That means simple interest for 1 year will be equal to 200 divided by 12, that is 100 by 6, that is 16.66 rupees. Right? Now this is interest for 1 year. So the rate will be interest of 1 year as a percentage of principal amount 100. So this will be 16.66 upon 100 into 100, which is equal to 16.66%. Now the question is asking the lesser rate of interest. So compare, first one rate was 20%, the second rate is 16.66%. Now which one is lesser? Second one, that is 16.66%, which is 16.2 by 3%, right? 16.66 is actually 16.2 by 3%. Okay, so that means option C is the correct answer. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, state the rate of interest if a deposit of rupees 50,000 becomes 92,350 in 7 years. Alright, nothing is mentioned, so we'll assume the question to be simple interest. Alright, now let's see, what is the interest value here? The simple interest value will be amount minus principal, that is 92,350 minus 50,000, which will be equal to 42,350. And we also have the formula for simple interest, which is PRT upon 100, that is equal to 42,350. Here P is given as 50,000. R we have to calculate, and time is given 7. Divide by 100 equal to 42350. So as you can see, 0, 0, 0, 0 cancelled. One more 0 is cancelled, and from here we get R is equal to 4235 divided by 50 into 7. Right? From here we can see that R is equal to this one. Now very clearly 50 is cancelled by 5 10 times, and 4235 is also cancelled by 5. 5 8 is 40. 23 5 4 is 20. 35 is 7. So it is 847. And 7 cancels 847 very clearly, very simply as 121. Alright. So R is equal to 121 upon 10, which is 12.1%. So the required rate of interest in this case is 12.1%, which is C option. So it was a simple question. You could have done it normally. right? Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says 50,000 are kept in a fixed deposit at the rate of 11% for 3 years. What interest will be with interest to be compounded annually? What is the maturity value? Right. So we need to just find the amount, which is equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N. Here it is given that R is 11%, N is 3. So directly apply. P is 50,000. So it is 50,000 into 1 plus R is 11 divided by 100 to the power 3, which becomes 50,000 into 1.11 to the power 3. Now here there is a catch. Now look at these options very clearly, very carefully. 65,000, 66,000, 67,000, and this is 68,381.55. Now 1.11 is not going to be a simple number. This has 2 places after decimal. So in the cube it will have at least 6 places after decimal. So it will eat up these 4 zeros. The final answer cannot have zeros in the end. Hence D option is the correct answer. Alright. 1.11 cube is not going to be a simple number, right? There are going to be digits after decimal, and that too there will be 2 digits are already there. In cube there will be 6 digits after decimal. So in the answer it cannot have zeros. So that means all these A, B, C options are wrong. D is the correct answer, right? Now let's check it further. So your question is already solved at this step. Okay. Now let's look at the complete value of 1.11 whole cube, which is equal to, so let's write it as 50,000 into 1.367631. Alright. So if you multiply by 50,000, it will give us 68,381.55 rupees. So obviously it is going to take a lot of time, right? This calculation is not directly easy. If it was square, it was at least slightly easier, but here it is cube, so it would take a lot of time, right? So you would have definitely used options after this step. Okay. So the answer is D option. Right? Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, this is a very interesting question and a beautiful question. If the rate of annual interest rise from 6.5% to 8%, that means the rise is equal to, rise in rate is equal to 8 minus 6.5, which is 1.5, which is 1.5% per year, right? The rate is always per year. Okay. So there is an increment of 1.5% every year. Then a person's annual income increases by 40.5 rupees. Here we are saying the rate increased by 1.5%. So his income must also increase by 1.5%. And here it is given that the income is increasing by 40.5 rupees. His capital must be. Now let's say if the capital is P, then the increase in income will be straight away equal to 1.5% of P. Alright. So the difference is straight away 1.5% of P. Increase in income is already given, 40.5 rupees is equal to 1.5% is 1.5 upon 100 into P. So this gives us P equal to 40.5 upon 40.5 into 100 upon 1.5. So a decimal goes from both the places and we have 405 into 100 divided by 15. Now I think 15 cancels 405 directly. You can see 15 2s is 30 and 15 7s is 105. It is 27 into 100. So P is equal to 2700 rupees. So the required principal amount is 2700 rupees in this case, which is option B. That is the correct answer. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says the SI on a certain sum of money for 3 years at 8% per annum is half the compound interest on 4,000 for 2 years at 10% per annum. So there are 2 different cases. Alright. So in the first case, the simple interest value will be equal to simply PRT upon 100, wherein the value of P is given. Oh no, it's not given, right? So we have to find the value of P. So it is P into R is given as 8, T is given as 3, divide by 100. So it is 24P upon 100. Let it be. In the second case, it says compound interest on 4,000 for 2 years at 10% per annum. Let's calculate this. So that required compound interest will be P into 1 plus R upon 100 to the power N minus P. So this compound interest will be equal to, in place of, let's take P common. We have 1 plus R is 10, so 10 upon 100, and N is 2, so square minus 1. So this gives us P into 1 plus 10 upon 100 is 1 by 10, so it is 1.1 square minus 1. Now 1.1 square is 1.21. So it is, and in place of P, we have to take 4000 in the second case. 1.1 square is 1.21 minus 1. So it is 4000 into 0.21. Alright. So it is equal to 21 4 is 84. So it is 840 rupees. Alright. Now the question is saying that the simple interest in the first case is half the compound interest in the second case. Now simple interest in the first case is 24p upon 100. Compound interest in the second case is 840. So we have 24p upon 100 is equal to half. So it is 1 by 2 into 840. Right? So and 2 cancels 840, 420 times. So that means P is equal to 420 into 100 divided by 24. Now 6 cancels 24 4 times. 6 cancels 42 7 times. So it is 70. 4 directly cancels 100 25 times. Alright. So that means the P value is equal to 70 into 25. Now 70 into 25 is 1750 rupees. Alright. So that means answer of this question is the principal amount of the first case is 1750, which is C option. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says a person invested in all rupees 2600 at 4%, 6% and 8% per annum simple interest. At the end of the year, he got the same interest in all the three cases. The money invested at 4%. Let's assume that the money invested at 4% is X, money invested at 6% is Y, and the money invested at 8% is Z. So X plus Y plus Z has to be equal to 2600 rupees. So this is one equation. Now it says at the end of the year, now at the end of 1 year, the interest on the first case will be 4% of X. Interest in the second part will be 6% of Y. Interest on the second part will be 6% of Y. Interest on the third part will be 8% of Z. And these three are all equal because the question is saying you got the same interest. Alright. So that means if you simplify, it will be 4 upon 100 into X is equal to 6 upon 100 into Y is equal to 8 upon 100 into Z. Now 100 is cancelled from all the places. 2 cancels 4 2 times. 2 cancels 6 3 times. 2 cancels 8 4 times. So we have 2x equal to 3y equal to 4z. Right? If you remember the theory of ratios, from here we can directly get the ratio of x, y and z as whatever number is multiplied, it comes as an inverse in the ratio. So here 2 is multiplied to x, so it will be 1 by 2. 3 is multiplied to y, so it is 1 by 3. And 4 is multiplied to z, so it is 1 by 4. And in the ratio, we cannot have fractions. So we multiply this whole ratio by the LCM of denominator 2, 3, 4, which is 12. So multiply by 12, it will give us 12 into 1 by 2 is 6. 12 into 1 by 3 is 4. And 12 into 1 by 4 is 3. Now this means that the total amount 2600 has to be divided in the ratio 6 is to 4 is to 3. The first one was x, second one is y, third one is z. Now the question is saying the money invested at 4%. So find out money invested at 4% was x rupees. Right? So the value of x will be, in this case, will be equal to 6 corresponds to that x. So it is 6 divided by 6 plus 4 plus 3. That is 13 into 2600. Now 13 2s is 26. So it is 2 times. So 200. 200 into 6 is 1200. So x is equal to 200 into 6. That is 1200 rupees. So the amount invested at 4% would be 1200 rupees, which is B option. Right? So this was a question which also had the concept of ratio applied into it. Alright, now let's go to the next question. Now this question says the value of a plant decreases by 10% annually. Now, whenever you come across depreciation, we have done compound interest as, in case of compound interest, we have done the amount is equal to, for compound interest, amount is equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power N. Right? This is what this A stands for the final value, P stands for the initial value. This is for compound interest. Similarly, whenever you come across depreciation, alright, whenever you come across depreciation, the same formula applies. You can say the final value is equal to initial value into 1, and in place of plus, we'll take minus. And the rate is R upon 100 to the power N. The same formula will be applied for depreciation also. It is just that we have to take minus in place of plus. Alright. Now in this question, if the present value of the plant is 1 lakh, then what will be its value after 2 years? So initial value is given as 1 lakh. We have to find final value after 2 years. So in this case, final value will be equal to 1 lakh into 1 minus. R is given as 10%. So it is 1 minus 10 upon 100 to the power n, that is 2. Now 1 minus 1 upon 10. 10 upon 100 is 1 upon 10. So 1 minus 1 upon 10 is 0.9. So it is 1 lakh into 0.9 square. Now 0.9 square is 0.81. So it is 100,000 into 0.81, which comes out to be 81,000. So the final value after 2 years is 81,000 rupees, right? Now there was another way of doing the same question, that the basic process of compound interest or the continuous calculation. Let's say the present value is 1 lakh, right? So what will happen in the first year? In the first year, it will decrease by 10%. So calculate 10% of 1 lakh, that is 10,000. So if you subtract 10,000, it will become 90,000, right? Now, again, in the second year, what will happen? In the second year, we have to subtract 10%. And again, this percent on this 90,000. Now, 10% of 90,000 is 9,000. If you subtract 9,000 from 90,000, you will get 81,000, right? So the final value after 2 years is 81,000, right? So this was another way of doing the same question, okay? Which is option A is the correct answer. Now let's go to the next question. Now this question says, at what annual rate of interest will 20,000 become 24,200? So this is a direct question of compound interest, amount equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power n. Now amount is given as 24,200. P is given as, so 24,200 equal to, P is given as 20,000 into 1 plus R we have to calculate, divide by 100 to the power n is 2. Now, if you divide by, so 2 zeros are cancelled. If you divide by 2, it becomes 100 and this becomes 121. 121 is 12 square, 11 square. So it is 11 square equal to 10 square into 1 plus R by 100 square. So now we can see square everywhere. So we can simply remove the squares. We get 11 equal to 10 into 1 plus R by 100. So simply open it. You will get, if you open this, you will get 10 plus 10R upon 100. So this means 11 equal to 10 plus 10R upon 100. That means 11 minus 10 is equal to 1 0 is cancelled here. So it is R upon 10. Now 11 minus 10 is 1. So 1 is equal to R upon 10. That means R is equal to 10%. So anyway, whatever way you opt for, this calculation is very simple. So the answer is 10%, right? But at the same time, we can also use the options directly. Look at this. 20,000 becomes 24,200. That means the interest value is 4,200. This interest value, if you calculate as a percentage of 20,000, is very easy to calculate. 4,200 divided by 20,000 into 100 is actually equal to, if you divide all the zeros, it will be around 21%. So 21% is the net interest after 2 years. So even if it was a simple interest situation, the rate must have been approximately equal to 21 by 2, that is 10.5. So answer has to be very close to 10%. So if you look at the options, 5, 6 and 1 are very far. So 10 has to be the correct answer, right? So we could have used the option also for this question. Alright, so this is where we have completed the exercise M09 for simple interest, compound interest. I'll again suggest you go back to the theory videos, revise it properly, and then if you have any problem, you can always get back to us. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care.